Hi there, welcome to another session of Multiple Choice Monday with yours truly, Miss Makita, accountant and POA coach slash tutor. Today, I want to share some multiple choice questions with you on bank reconciliation. And I love doing multiple choice questions because it can show you quickly what you are weak in and what you need to work on. All right, and at the end of the day, once you're studying, you want to know what you're weak in so that you could strengthen it. So if you're ready to go do those bank rec questions with me, drop ready in the chat. On the screen, I have the questions, and as I said, I love doing multiple choice questions. It's a nice way to recap after you have learned a topic. So let's go in. I had a problem with number one, so I just took that out. We're not gonna let problems and stress keep us back from doing what we have to do. So number two, a credit balance or overdraft in your bank account means that. So what does that mean when you have an overdraft in your bank account? Does it mean that the bank received more money than it has paid out? Or does it mean that the bank paid more money than it received? Or does it mean that the bank is going bankrupt? Or does it mean that too many discounts were received? All right, so remember when you're doing this in the exam, you have just about a minute and a half to pick a choice. So you have to read through it very quickly and then see what the answer is. In this case, an overdraft will mean that the bank paid more money than it has received. And this means that the owners owes the bank. All right. So that's why the bank overdraft is going to be on the credit side. Your opening balance is going to be on the credit side. It means that you owe the bank. All right. Which of the following items, for number three, which of the following items would not appear on the bank statement? Which of the following items will not appear on the bank statement? So read it through quickly before I select the answer. Is it going to be standing order, bank charges, bank interest, or unpresented checks? Which of the items would not appear on the bank statement? Standing orders will be on the bank statement, bank charges will be on the bank statement, bank interest will also be on the bank statement. So your answer is D. Unpresented checks would not be on the bank statement, and that is because they were not presented to the bank, so the bank cannot record those checks. All right, those checks are still outstanding. The persons are holding on to them for whatever reason. Number four, what was that, lottery then? So I'm just going to jump quickly to the end to see what they're asking me for, so that when I read all the information, I could start to put the pieces together. All right, so it says, what should be the bank statement balance at the end of the month? Okay, so we have to know what we have to figure out what the bank statement balance is. They gave us a cash book balance at the end of the month as 2145. They gave us standing order and they gave us bank charges. They said at the end of the month, standing order and bank charges had not been entered in the cash book. So this one requires you to get those engines moving a little bit, all right? And the assumption here is that when we enter the standing order and the bank charges to the cash book balance, that is going to update the cash book and it's also going to bring it to the same thing as the bank statement balance, all right? So we want to go and update our cash book to get our equivalent bank statement balance. How do you do that? Standing orders and bank charges are things that you have to take out of your cash book. All right, these are things, these are payments, these are deductions. So if we start with our cash book balance and then we minus this 1500 and minus the $8, that should bring us to our cash book balance. Now you can go quickly and draw up your T account and enter that information. Or you could do it just as I did on the screen here. I started with my 2145, I minus the 1500, I minus the 8, and that brought me to my answer, which is C. Very important in this question, you have to know that the standing order and the bank charges should be deducted from your opening cash book figure. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. Make sure and type it in the chat, type it in the comments, so that we could make sure you understand this. Yeah? All right, good. So number 5, the statement which adjusts the bank statement balance to agree with the cash book balance is known as what? So we can easily update our cash book when we get our bank statement, but we cannot go into the bank and adjust their bank statement. So we have to create a statement that basically adjusts the bank statement balance and shows us that all will be well when these adjustments are made. And the figure is going to match to our cash book. So what is the statement that you use to make a bank statement balance agree with your cash book balance? Is it the profit and loss statement? I don't think so. Balance sheet? No. It is your bank reconciliation statement. Number 6. All right, so I'm reading here again. So the balance as the bank statement is 1210. Unpresented checks is 400. Deposit in transit is 600. What is the cash book balance? So we have to find out what the cash book balance is. There's a format that you should learn to find that out, and this in this red box here, I will highlight that information just now. I just want to let you know that deposit in transit is the same thing as late lodgements or amount not yet credited or outstanding lodgements. I see as well sometimes, all right? So the format is, you start with your bank statement. You're gonna you're gonna add your deposit in transit because that is gonna be added to the bank statement soon. All right, whenever that deposit come in, is going to be added to whatever you have in the bank, is going to be added to your bank statement. And you take away unpresented checks because eventually persons who are holding on to checks that they did not cash, they would bring it to the bank. And that is going to deduct your amount of money in the bank. All right, so add the late lodgements minus the unpresented checks. And we can see that the answer is 1410. Now quickly, let me just tell you again, if you learn this one format, you could use this format if you have to find the bank statement balance. Just reverse. Start with the cash book balance. Instead of blessing, add. Instead of adding, you minus, and that's going to bring you up to your bank statement balance. All right, so the answer here would be C, which should be 1410. Okay. Any questions? We have just a few more questions. And number 7 and number 8 is based on the information in the picture to your left. All right. It says the check paid but not presented at bank is $750. A check received was returned by the bank for insufficient funds. As a dishonored check, that's $1,000. Bank charges is $20. Bank interest received is $60. The cash book had a balance of $5,600 before any adjustments were made. All right, number 7, which of the following should be adjusted in the cash book? And number 8, what should be the adjusted cash book balance? So with number 7, they want to know which of these would I use to update my cash book? Which of these would I use to adjust my cash book? All right, and generally you want to use items from your bank statement to update your cash book. So checks paid but not presented at the bank, that is not going to be in the bank statement. A check received was returned by the bank because of insufficient funds. So that is going to show up on a bank statement, and that has to be used to adjust the cash book. Bank charges also has to be used, and any bank interest received will also have to be used to update the cash book, because normally the cashier or whoever is managing the cash book, they would not have known of this check being dishonored, right? So they would have already debited it in their cash book. But because the person didn't have enough funds we did not receive the money. The bank returned the check to them. Okay, so whoever is managing the cash books, most likely you would not know about that unless they get the bank statement. The bank charges, this is something a lot of persons do not record until they get the bank statement, and likewise the bank interest received. So we have to use both. We have to use 2, 3, and 4 to update our cash book. Let's see if there are any options with those 3. So A is out, B is out. I see C has 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to use that as our answer. All right. And then, it's connected nicely. They said, what should be the adjusted cash book balance? So if we know we have to use these 3 to adjust the cash book, what is going to be our balance when it is adjusted? So what should be the adjusted cash book balance? Here they're looking to see if you know how to update the cash book. What do you do with this 1,000? What do you do with this 20? What do you do with this 60? All right. This $1,000, we have to use this on the credit side, or this has to be a minus figure because we have to reverse the original entry, which would have been a debit. Bank charges, this was not recorded before, and this is a payment, so this has to be deducted or minus. Bank interest received, this is money that we receive, so this has to be added or placed on the debit side of the cash book if you're drawing up a cash book to make the adjustments. All right. As I said earlier, you can just use an equation and put in those figures to get your answer. So we started with the 5,600 minus the 1,000 minus the 20, add the 60, and your answer is going to be A, 4640. All right. So just 2 more questions. Number 9, a cash book showed a balance of $400 credit. When the bank statement was received, additional entries are made in the cash book for a standing order of $100 and interest received of $200. They ask us, the updated cash book balance will be what? So again, we have to know how to update the cash book. Really important, and this is tested a lot with CSEC. So we can use the linear format, or we can use our T account. I want to show you guys the T account because this one is a little bit more complicated as it starts with the credit balance, meaning this 400 will be on the right-hand side of the T account. So let's take this box here as our T account. We are going to enter our $400 on the left-hand, on the right-hand side, sorry. We're going to enter our $400 on the right-hand side, which is the credit side. And then we're going to also take away our standing order by adding it on the left-hand side. All right. I'm doing this shorthand. I'm not putting in any details, but you make sure you put in your details. I'm just showing you where to place the figures. The 200 has to go on our debit side. So we start off with the 400 credits. We add the 100 standing order. We enter our 200. When we balance that, we're going to end up with 500 being our balance on the left-hand side, and we're going to end up with 500 being our well, it has to balance, so we have to put the 500 on the right hand. You're going to have 500 on the right-hand side, and we're going to have to put 500 on the left-hand side as well to make it balance. All right. Because we only have 200 on the left-hand side, which is the debit side, we have to enter our balancing figure, which is going to be 300. This is going to be the same thing that we're going to start with the next month. It's going to be our balance brought down. Hence the reason our answer is B. All right. So that is going to be our cash flow balance. It's going to be 300 on the credit side. Now you can also do a linear equation for this. And you just start with minus 400, right? Because we know it's on the credit side, so it's a minus. That's a minus value. Minus your $100, which is the standing order. Add the 200, which is your interest received. and that's going to give you a balance of minus 300. Know that this minus 300 means it's on the credit side. Really, really important. Okay, so whichever one works for you, drawing a T account or using the equation, it will give you the same answer once you know that the credit is equal to a minus or deduction. All right, last question, but by no way least, all right? This question says, the unpresented checks total $1,759. The balance as per cash book is what? So they give us an incomplete bank reconciliation statement. They start with the bank statement. They add the amount not yet credited, and they end up with $350. This 190 is in brackets because it is a minus figure. So the balance as the bank statement is a minus, meaning that we owe the bank money. All right. So what do we do with the unpresented checks? We know the unpresented check has to go here, right? What do we do with that? 1,759. Do we add that or do we take that away? All right. You're supposed to take that away, because eventually when those checks are presented to the bank, it's going to be deducted from whatever money you have in that bank account. So if they come and present that the same day you only have $350, that is going to be deducted. So I'm over in the red square. Right, so that 1,759 is going to be deducted from the 350, and your cash book adjusted balance is going to be 1,409. Let's see if we have an option that says minus 1,409. And yes, we do. And of course, they must give you an option as if you add the unpresented checks, you would have probably come up with what, 2,109, right? So they're really testing whether you know what to do with the unpresented checks. If you have any questions, again, right, don't stay stuck. Don't stay with those unanswered questions. Let me know if you have any questions, either in the comments or in the chat. Okay. And you can also WhatsApp me, 868-709-6136.